Okay, now for the fun part. It is time to make our whistles make sound. So I need for you to watch very carefully because this is very, very specific. Okay, you have your clay whistle. It's flat on one edge. Is it flat on one edge? Flat on one edge. Put your record buttons on. Beep. My whistle is flat on one edge. My whistle is flat on one edge. I'm going to drill my holes in the flat side. I'm going to drill my holes in the flat side. My whistle is flat on one side. My whistle is flat on one side. I'm going to drill the holes on the flat side. I'm going to drill the holes on the flat side. Beep. Okay, record buttons off. Okay, so here we go. It is flat on one side. This is my whistle. This is where we're at right here. We're on the third row down, third row over. So my first step is I need to figure out where the nub, the solid nub, and the hollow cavity meet. So I'm going to use my tool, my wooden stick, to mark where the nub and the sphere meet. So where I know that I put that pinch pot, I'm going to make a line right around there. You're watching first. Watching, hands are down. Then I'm going to take my small drill bit and I'm going to drill a hole turning clockwise into the whistle. Now you can feel when you hit air. If it's solid, then you need to cover that up and try moving back a little bit further. Then, once I know I reached air, then I'm going to take my large drill bit and I'm turning it clockwise. When I turn it clockwise, the drill brings all the extra clay out. If a little bit of clay got stuck in your whistle, it's not really that big of a deal. Just sort of annoying. So I'm drilling in a hole with my large drill bit. Okay. Now I need to kind of smooth out any of that clay that came out the top. Bring my tool in carefully and roll it. Try not to change the circumference of that circle. Here's the tricky part. We've done this, this, and this now. This now. Now this is the tricky part. This is the tricky part right here. Let me draw it for you first and show you what it's going to look like. Okay, so your whistle is about like that. The hole has been drilled in here. So now it looks like this. If I cut your whistle in half, it would look like this. So this would all be solid. And this is a hollow space here, so air's coming down here. Now what I have to do is I have to cut off a wedge of clay right here. Here's the part. Super focus on the screen, 1, 2, 3. Shh. Here's the part where people get messed up. You are going to remove a wedge of clay right here. That little bitty wedge of clay.
Super focus on the screen, 1, 2, 3. Shh. Here's the part where people get messed up. You are going to remove a wedge of clay right here. That little bitty wedge of clay. Super focus on the screen, 1, 2, 3. Shh. Here's the part where people get messed up. You are going to remove a wedge of clay right here. That little bitty wedge of clay. Super focus on the screen, 1, 2, 3. Shh. Here's the part where people get messed up. You are going to remove a wedge of clay right here. That little bitty wedge of clay. On the screen, 1, 2, 3. Shh. Here's the part where people get messed up. You are going to remove a wedge of clay right here. That little bitty wedge of clay. On the screen, 1, 2, 3. Shh. Here's the part where people get messed up. You are going to remove a wedge of clay right here. That little bitty wedge of clay. On the screen, 1, 2, 3. Shh. Here's the part where people get messed up. You are going to remove a wedge of clay right here. That little bitty wedge of clay.
Every single year, people get to this point, they forget to take out that wedge of clay, and they don't understand why their whistle doesn't work. It will not work unless you remove that little wedge of clay. So here's how we do it. You're going to take your scoop tool, this tool right here, and you're going to carefully put it in, and you're going to carve away a little bit at a time. Now, this is about, oh gosh, it's about that thick, this whistle. So I can't get all of that out at once. I'm going to have to carve a little bit at a time. Be really careful because I don't want to disturb this edge. So I'm going to carve a little wedge out. And then I like to turn my tool, swirl my tool to try to get that all kind of compressed so I can bring that out. That was actually a pretty risky amount to take out. That was a lot to take out at once. But I got lucky. I didn't mess it up. Okay, now there's starting to be a wedge there, but it's not quite there yet. So I need to take out just a little bit more. Only taking out the wedge on one side. It's the side away from the nub. Taking out that little wedge of clay right there. Then I'm going to take my tool and my wooden stick. I'm going to very carefully roll it. I don't want that to come up. Just want to keep it the same as it is, except just sort of compressed. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a line that goes from this wedge right here to the opening. So I'm going to make a straight line where the air goes in right here. It's going to go in, it's going to hit this wedge, it separates, it vibrates the clay, and that's what makes the sound. So I'm pointing right to that wedge, drawing a line down. I'm going to poke my wooden stick in, and that line there should continue through that wooden stick. And then I gently press it up. Now once I can start seeing it come out this opening here, then I'm looking to see if it matches right up against that wedge, and it does. I want that stick to point right to the wedge. So then I need to clean off just a little bit, very, very carefully. It's like surgery here. Just want to make sure that when I take the stick out, I'm not leaving any clay inside that cavity. Okay, let's see if it works. It works, look. It works. All right, now I want you to see what it looks like when I carve it in half. All right, this side's a little prettier. Now you can see that wedge that I cut out right there. Okay, now this is also something you can do if you've got a whistle that's not hollow. You can do a little surgery. You can cut it in half. I would use the fettling knife to cut it in half, carve it out, and I can actually save this. Let's see if I can save this. What do I have to do when I put two pieces of clay together? Score and slip, Miss Littlefinger. You've been telling us that for years. What? Score and slip. Are you sure? Yes, Miss Littlefinger. Stop asking us that. We're sure. You score and slip. We're sure of it. All right. So let's see if I can put this back together. Some slip on there. I'll probably have to do a little bit of recutting, but I think I could save that. So there you go. That's how to make it whistle. If you made it too solid, we can fix that too. We can perform a little surgery. Normally I would wait for this to get leather hard or just a little bit harder before I tried this again, but what the heck, I'm going to try it again. Ooh, look how messy that is. It's very messy. I need to get that out of there. Ew, it's going to put clay all over my mouth. I'll do it anyway. Nope. Not quite there. Work that one again. All right, I'm going to let that one sit. Try another one. All right. You may go ahead and start if you are confident that you know what to do. If you are clueless and you're like, oh, I really need to see that one more time, then you can. Just keep watching. Now, once you get your clay whistle to work, you need to set it down and leave it alone. When I hear clay whistles, I know that I have an expert in the room who has figured it out. I do not want to hear the clay whistle over and over and over. That will result in you leaving my room. So, let's try that one more time. Got the nub, hollow, solid, hollow, solid. I'm going to draw my line around so I know where not to cut into. Then right next to that line, I'm going to try my small drill bit. I'm going to turn it clockwise. That way it brings all the extra clay out. This tool is very tempting to use this to clean other tools. Don't use that tool to clean anything else out. Okay. So I'm going to drill it in clockwise. And yes, I have a hollow spot, so now I can go with my big drill bit. By the way, if anyone's parents, grandparents, know anybody who does a lot of woodworking, the drill bits go bad, and they throw them away. but we can still use them in here. So if you have extra drill bits laying around, do not bring drill bits that you need to take back home. Don't even bother. I don't want to be responsible for the drill bits. They can be very expensive. Okay, so now I have my hole. I'm going to just clean it up just a little bit. I don't want it to be any bigger circumference than it is. Now I'm going to carefully cut my wedge. Remember this little piece right here. I'm going to cut that little triangle out, and I'm not going to try to cut it all out at once. I'm going to turn my tool around so that when I come out with that, it's kind of compressed. Not quite there. Take another little wedge of clay out. Keep turning that tool so that it's kind of compressed. Ooh, that's a lot. That was a whole lot. I got lucky again. When you start taking a whole lot out, it gets a little bit, it starts messing up the circumference of the hole. Alright, so I'm going to carefully, lightly roll my wooden stick over those surfaces. My thumb's on the outside to keep it from getting too high. Then I'm going to draw a line. I've got my wedge in there. I'm going to draw a line from the wedge down. I'm going to insert my stick and make sure that that line continues. Then I'm going to push that in, and it points right to the wedge. That's exactly where I want it. I need to clean it off a little bit. Clean that opening a little bit and see if it works. It works, but it's not a really strong sound, so I'm going to try a couple of things here. Now, the important thing when you try fixing your whistle, don't do a whole bunch of little things and then try your whistle, because you might have fixed it and broken it before you even tried it again. Thing when you try fixing your whistle, don't do a whole bunch of little things and then try your whistle, because you might have fixed it and broken it before you even tried it again.
Thing when you try fixing your whistle, don't do a whole bunch of little things and then try your whistle, because you might have fixed it and broken it before you even tried it again. Thing when you try fixing your whistle, don't do a whole bunch of little things and then try your whistle, because you might have fixed it and broken it before you even try it again.
Sort of like that. I raised that up too high that time. I'm going to roll my stick over the top, try to flatten that out. Alright, clean my passageway a little bit more. That's what it needed. It needed that passageway cleaned. Alright, now if it doesn't work for you, if the wedge is too high or too low once you push this in, you can carefully move that wedge up and down. You can press it in and you can carefully bring it up with your wooden stick. Okay. Alright, make your clay whistles make sound.